Hi, good evening. Thank you for your patience. It's 6:34 p.m., December 11th, 2024, and the meeting of the Urban Design Commission will now come to order. May we please have a roll call?
Monica Sullivan,
Here.
Edith McKee,
Here.
Allison Gordy,
Here.
Julia Foland,
Here.
Alexandra Nanello,
Here.
Ryan Lucas,
Here.
Trevor Strait,
Here.
James Collis. Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. May we get a motion to approve the minutes from October 9th, 2024? It's been moved by Commissioner Strait and seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Are there any objections to the minutes being approved? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. The next item on our agenda is special order of business or executive sessions, and we will start with disclosures. Are there any disclosures?
This is Commissioner Gordy. I have a disclosure.
Okay, please state.
May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Regarding the public hearing tonight, case 2024-0120, I am going to recuse myself from hearing this case as I am part of the design team. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gordy.
This is Commissioner Foland.
Commissioner Foland?
I have a disclosure for the consent agenda, case number 2024-0089 and case number 2024-0095. I will abstain from voting on those as I was absent for that meeting.
Thank you.
I was also absent for the previous meeting, so for the same cases, I need to also disclose that I was absent and recuse myself from that vote for the consent agenda.
Thank you. I also have a disclosure this evening with respect to case number 2024-0120. I am a patient client of South Central Foundation. I do receive services there, but have nothing associated with this particular location. The other disclosure that I have is that I work for HDR, which is a architecture and engineering company that does have contracts with Bettesworth North, but currently I do not make any financial gain from this project and or have any prior knowledge of this project.
This is Commissioner Strait. I'd like to make a motion to direct Chairperson McKee to participate in case 2024-021. Is there a second?
I'll second, but I'll wait till it comes up here on their screens.
So do I make the announcement or does somebody else need to make the announcement? Okay. So it's been moved by Commissioner Sullivan and seconded by Commissioner Strait. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, may we please vote? Oh. Are there any objections? Do we need to vote? Okay. Hearing none, please vote to direct Commissioner McKee to participate in case 2024-0120. Oh, you already did it, okay.
Ms. Boland, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Lucas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Gordy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner McKee has been directed to participate. Thank you. Are there any other disclosures this evening? Great. We'll move on to the consent agenda. May we have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-004, related case 2024-0089, and Resolution 2024-005, related case 2024-0095 on the consent agenda. Thank you. It's moved by Commissioner Straight and seconded by Commissioner Coles. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for discussion or correction? Great. Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved.
Uh,
Is there somebody online? We don't have any unfinished business or items on the regular agenda this evening. Therefore, we will move on to the public hearings, and I'll read the public process.
Really quickly, through the chair,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Gordy.
Please go ahead, Commissioner Gordy.
Since I have been recused from hearing this case, I am going to leave the meeting, and thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you for attending to help us pass the resolution.
Anytime.
Okay. So, the Urban Design Commission meets the second and fourth Wednesday of each month except holidays as regular meetings. If the Urban Design Commission fails to complete its agenda for its regular meetings, the commission carries over the remainder of the agenda to the following meeting date. The procedure by which the public may speak to the Urban Design Commission at its meeting is: 1, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. Persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Urban Design Commission Rules of Procedure. Petitioners, including all of his, her, their representatives, will have 10 minutes. Rebuttal by the petitioner may be allowed when time has been reserved. Representatives of groups, which includes community councils, PTAs, etc., will have 5 minutes. Individuals will have 3 minutes. 3, when your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the commission. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the commission. 4, any party of interest wishing to appeal shall first file with the planning director within 7 days of the commission's decision made on the record a written notice of intent to appeal in accordance with AMC 21.03.050A.4.A. Commission recommendations to the Anchorage Assembly are not appealable. Following approval of the written findings of fact and decision, any party of interest may, within 20 days, file an appeal by filing a notice of appeal and paying the appeal fee and deposit in accordance with Section 21.03.050. The notice of appeal must be filed with the planning director on a form prescribed by the municipality. If the appellant is not the applicant, the appellant's notice of appeal shall include proof of service on the applicant. With respect to case 2024-01 the petitioner is requesting a design variance from AMC 21.07.080H.3 to allow a fence to exceed the maximum height requirements. May we have staff's presentation, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a request for a design variance from AMC 21.07.080H3 to allow a fence to exceed maximum height requirements of 8 feet with an increase of 6 feet to a total of 14 feet. Page 26 of your staff packet, sheet L1, shows the two locations of these areas where the fence will be in relation to the building. This facility will serve individuals who are at risk of harming themselves or others. Therefore, it is crucial to consider the fence height carefully to discourage patients from using it to inflict harm or to prevent contraband from being thrown over the fence from outside. This measure is vital for the safety and security of those receiving care. Although there is not a lot of guidelines for these types of facilities, the Department of Veterans Affairs recommends a fence height of 14 feet in their Mental Health Facilities Design Guide 2010 to mitigate risks of climbing and escape. A taller fence will create a safer outdoor area for patients and increase security, enabling South Central Foundation staff to focus on the mental health needs of the patients without the constant concern of elopement or encountering illicit items in the yard. The design of the fence will be tailored to complement the architectural style of the facility and the surrounding landscape. On November 18, 2024, a total of 492 public hearing notices were mailed in accordance with the procedures of AMC 21.03.020H. Notice, as of this writing, no public comments have been received. The University Area Community Council did not provide comments regarding this case. In order for the Urban Design Commission to approve the variance, the application must state with particularity the relief sought and must specify the facts or circumstances that are alleged to show that the application substantially meets the following 8 standards. Standard A, the proposed alternative achieves the intent of the subject design standard to the same or better degree than the subject standard. Standard A is met. This proposed design will create additional usable square footage for the users of this facility by providing secure outdoor spaces. These fences will, for the most part, blend in with the proposed architecture of the building, creating a more seamless transition between the two and creating a better degree to the subject standard by improving the visual look and improving the massing of the structure in these locations. Both areas are directly adjacent to the building and are separated from the commercial use to the west and Elmore Road to the east by landscaping and drive aisles. Neither fence is located adjacent to any of the surrounding parcels. Standard B, the proposed alternative achieves the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan to the same or better degree than the subject standard. Standard B is met. This site is designated as town center, traditional neighborhood development, transit supportive development, and residential mixed-use development per the 2040 Anchorage Land Use Plan. The 2040 Land Use Plan designates the property and its surroundings as a town center. This development will serve as a destination for medical services. This high-density infill development makes this an ideal use for this space. Since this is a place of healing, providing safe and secure outdoor areas is imperative to the patients experiencing a mental health crisis or undergoing detox. Consideration was also given to placing the outdoor areas away from Tudor Road and Elmore Road and the associated visual stimulation. One of the goals of the land use plan is that the development improves community resiliency and citizens' quality of life. As part of these programs, it is important to provide access for patients to be outside. It is well documented that time outdoors provides patients substantial benefits to their mental health. However, if the patient and/or staff do not feel it is a safe and secure space, this benefit may be undermined. Standard C, the proposed alternative results in benefits to the community that are equivalent to or better than compliance with the subject standard. Standard C is met. This fence will benefit the community by providing a needed outdoor healing space for patients that is safe and secure. This program in general is a much needed community asset that will have positive outcomes at the neighborhood, community, and state levels. The fencing will be made of materials that are complementary to the building facade, and landscape planted outside of the fence will provide an additional buffer from the adjacent right-of-ways and surrounding uses to create an aesthetically pleasing development. Standard D, the variance, if granted, will not adversely affect the use of adjacent property as permitted under this code. Standard D is met. This variance will not adversely affect the use of the adjacent property as permitted. The proposed fences are interior to the site and not within any setbacks or adjacent to any property lines. Landscaping will be planted along the north, south, and east property lines due to buffer landscaping to the north and the university's landscaping. These fences will not be visible from the residential use along that perimeter. The stabilization fence is 170 feet from the north site perimeter, and the detox fence is not near any residential uses. Standard E, the variance, if granted, does not change the character of the zoning district where the property is located, is in keeping with the intent of the code, and does not permit a use not otherwise permitted in the district in which the property lies. Standard E is met. The site is zoned B3 and the proposed uses, health services, and hospital health care facilities are permitted uses. The character of the B3 zoning district is focused on commercial centers and areas with heavy traffic. Standard F, persons with disabilities are provided with access as required by the Americans with Disabilities Act and reasonable accommodation. Standard F is met. The proposed outdoor yard at the facility will be ADA compliant. Standard G, the variance, if granted, does not adversely affect the health, safety, and welfare of the people of the municipality. Standard G is met. The proposed variance will benefit the health, safety, and welfare of the people of the municipality. Not only will the Crisis Stabilization Center, Crisis Residential Center, and detox programs provide much-needed services to the community, it is well established that there are mental health benefits to being outside and the need to feel safe and secure before being able to self-actualize. The increased fence height will create a secure enclosure for patients to enjoy the outdoors and further supports their journey to wellness. Standard H, in evaluating the request for a variance for the maximum sign height, Standard H is met and is not applicable due to the variance request not being related to signs. Reviewing agencies' comments are included in attachment 3, starting on page 28 of your staff packet. There were no objections to the variance. Therefore, the department recommends approval of the variance subject to the following conditions 1 and 2, found on page 7 of your staff packet. I can answer any questions that the commission may have, and the petitioner's representative is in attendance, Stephanie Cloud, with Bettisworth North.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? Commissioner Straight?
Through the chair, I've got really only one question. Looking through the application versus the staff report, there seems to be a little discrepancy on the fence height requested. From what I can tell in the application, it looks like a 15-foot fence is requested. I didn't know if that had been a discussion following the application or something else going on there.
Through the chair, Commissioner Straight, that's a good question. You're seeing that on page 17.
Yeah, and just on the cover of the application, design
Gotcha.
variance, it's requesting a 15-foot high fences.
It is. That's a good point. Sorry for that. I just remember all discussions being 14 feet in height. We can change that. I will let Stephanie chat about that and compare, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions of staff? Okay, will the petitioner please come forward? Please state and spell your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Cloud, STEPHANIECLOUD. And, sorry?
You will have 10 minutes to present. Would you like to reserve any of your time for rebuttal?
Yes, can I please reserve 3 minutes for rebuttal? My name is Stephanie Cloud. I'm a landscape architect with Bettisworth North, and I'm here representing South Central Foundation today. And we've got some members of the design team and South Central Foundation programming staff and facilities. As you heard, we're here requesting a variance on the fence height. And actually, let's see if I can figure this out here. Thank you. And the question, just to clarify now, we were originally asking for 15 feet, a maximum of 15 feet as we were working through this. But given the design guidelines from the Department of Veterans Affairs of 12 to 14 feet, I think we're going to just ask for a maximum of 14 feet for both fences. Let's see, this is so far away. Let's see, and we're asking for this variance to provide safety for both the patients and a sense of security and efficiency for the staff that's supervising out in these yards. I think code is talking primarily about the separation of incompatible uses along the perimeter of the site, but as you'll see, these fences are all interior to the site. Here is our site, and they've already started digging, so maybe you're familiar with it. So here's the perimeter here in red, and here's Elmore, and this is Tudor here. We've got some commercial over here to the west. We've got some residential with the university up here, some utilities. This is the greater Alaska Native Health campus. And this is Muni land down here to the south. SCF is proposing a new facility to focus on behavioral and mental health, which is a critical need in our community. Let's see, this is, I'll show you again the property lines. Here we go, so these go along the outside here. This is the proposed building. It's going to be 3 stories. This is the crisis stabilization yard. This is the detox yard. So we've got lots of space, lots of vegetation in between buffering the rights-of-way and the adjacent properties. This is a site rendering. This is, again, the crisis stabilization. This is the adjacent commercial uses. This is Tudor Road, and this is the detox fence over here. And as shown, this is 14 feet height. This is focusing on the crisis fencing on the west side. This is Tudor Road. It's over here, and there are trees per Title 21 all along this perimeter that aren't being shown there. But this yard is being used for people experiencing acute mental health episodes. And you know, we know how important it is for mental health to be outside. So SCF really wanted to encourage an outdoor space for these patients. And as I mentioned, the Department of Veterans Affairs recommended 12 to 14 feet to prevent elopement, and that's really the issue that we're talking about with this population, so that people aren't jumping over. And then I'm going to zoom in. And then you can see we've got spruce trees over on the east side with some forsythia and some rose of China. And those will grow to about 6 feet height. So we're trying to screen this fence as much as possible. And that's also a request to South Central Foundation to really blend it into the building, because they don't want these to be targets for, you know, people who are throwing things in or doing anything nefarious. This is a spotlight on the detox fence. This is Elmore, and this is Tudor here. Again, there's trees all along this curve and this perimeter per Title 21. This is a detox program. It's an existing program that they have, and they're growing the program. And right now, and the concern is contraband coming over the fence. Right now, they have contraband coming over quite often over their existing fence, and so they're hoping that with a higher fence, that won't be such an issue. And is just taking away from staff time, having to, you know, scan the yard all the time and make sure there's nothing coming over. And, you know, obviously that is not good for the patient's success if they're, you know, getting stuff in there. And then as far as vegetation around it, we're doing the spruce over here. We've got more forsythia, more birch along this fence too to help screen it as well. And then as far as blending it in, we're looking at a couple different fencing types. And they're both aluminum options. The first one, the Brit Plas, is a security fencing. It's anti-ligature for safety. And this has a graphic. You can digitally produce graphics over it. So we're talking about, maybe matching it with the pattern on the building that you can sort of make out up there. But we can definitely do matching the colors and the textures, or the look of the textures on the building. Or the knotwood fence, which is aluminum panels that is made to look like regular wood fence panels, and so that'll give a more residential feel and make it feel less institutional. But they have a lot of different colors that we can match with the building. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the petitioner? I have a question. I don't know how I request to speak. Just go ahead. So I have two questions for you. Thank you. So and I saw that you've gotten a lot of outreach. Was there any concerns from the university, which is the adjacent property?
No, we did present at the University Community Council back in May, and it seemed to be general support of the program and the project, and the community need, I think, was really, I don't know. It was, everyone felt it was important to the community.
And then my other question was that you mentioned that there's an existing facility that has a fence that is having issues. Do you know what the height of that existing fence is?
That one is 6 foot.
That one's 6 foot. Okay, thank you. That
Yeah.
concludes my questions.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, we will now, thank you. We will open the hearing to public testimony. Is there anyone wishing to testify? Okay. Would the petitioner like to use their remaining time?
Oh, no, thank you, but I will turn the mic off.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any more questions from the commission for the petitioner or staff? No? Nope. Fine. All right, the public hearing is now closed. The matter now rests with the body. We will move and vote. May we have a motion to approve case 2024-0120? It's been moved by Commissioner Straight. Mover, would you please state your position or your motion?
I'd like to move in this case 2024-021 that we approve the variance for the fence height increase from 8 foot up to 14 feet.
Subject to the conditions. You've got to say subject to the conditions.
I move in case 2024-021 to approve the variance from AMC 21.01.080H.3 to allow a fence to exceed maximum height requirements of 8 feet with an increase of 6 feet to a total of 14 feet, subject to the conditions shown on page 7 of the staff report.
Thank you. It's been seconded by Commissioner Nanalo. Commissioner Straight, would you please speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. So, in regards to the approval criteria, for criteria A, the proposed alternative achieves the intent of the subject design standard to the same or better degree than the subject standard. I find that this standard is met. This proposed design will create additional usable square footage for the users of this facility by providing secure outdoor spaces, and that these fences will, for the most part, blend in with the proposed architecture of the building, creating a more seamless transition between the two and creating a better degree to the subject standard. Also, both areas are directly adjacent to the building and are separated from the commercial use to the west and Elmore Road to the east by landscaping and drive aisles. And neither fence is located adjacent to any surrounding parcels. For condition B, the proposed alternative achieves the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan to the same or better degree than the subject standard. I find this condition is met. The site is designated as a town center, and in the Land Use 2040 Land Use Plan, it designates the property and its surrounding as a town center. This development will serve as a destination for medical services, and this high-density infill development makes this an ideal use for this space. Also, one of the goals of the Land Use Plan is that development improves community resiliency and citizens' quality of life, and I think this proposed improvement definitely does that. Criteria C, the proposed alternative results in benefits to the community that are equivalent to or better than compliance with the subject standard. I find this condition is met. The fence will benefit the community by providing a needed outdoor healing space for patients that is safe and secure. This program in general is much needed for the community asset that will have positive outcomes for the neighborhood, community, and state levels. Criteria D, the variance, if granted, will not adversely affect the use of adjacent property as permitted under this code. I find this standard is met. This variance will not adversely affect the use of the adjacent property as permitted. The proposed fences are interior to the site and not within any setbacks or adjacent to any property lines. The fences will be aesthetically integrated into the site and the building design. For criteria E, the variance, if granted, does not change the character of the zoning district where the property is located, is in keeping with the intent of this code, and does not permit a use not otherwise permitted in the district in which the property lies. I find the standard is met. This site is zoned B3, and the proposed uses, health services, and hospital/healthcare facilities are permitted uses. Criteria F, persons with disabilities are provided with access as required by the ADA and reasonable accommodation. I find the standard is met. The outdoor facility will be ADA compliant. Criteria G, the variance, if granted, does not adversely affect the health, safety, and welfare of the people in the municipality. I find the standard is met. The proposed variance will benefit the health, safety, and welfare of people in the municipality. Crisis Stabilization Center, the Crisis Residential Center, and the detox programs will provide much-needed services to the community. And the existing 8-foot high fence, if using an 8-foot high fence, that would preclude patients from using the stabilization center yard due to the risk of elopement or the ability to harm themselves. Criteria H, the standard is related to signs and so is not applicable. And so based on that criteria, I am moving that we accept the variance with the department's recommendations 1 and 2 on page 7.
Thank you. Commissioner Nanalo, would you like to speak to your second?
Sure. Just to follow up with what Trevor said, this fence clearly supports the services trying to be provided at this center. It does it in a way that doesn't interfere with the surrounding community, and every effort has been made to meet the criteria designated here. So I will also support this measure.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioners wishing to speak to the motion and/or, oh, sorry. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes, I would just have to say that I'm very happy to be here and review the project. I think you're providing a safe space and also integrating very beautiful that fence into the building. You know, it's very rare when we see projects that they really, really care about what's the look. I mean, I couldn't even see where was the fence in those renderings. It's beautiful. You're trying materials, design, and providing a safe space. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioners? I would like to add a statement of support, is that in particular this fence height was selected based on the Department of Veteran Affairs recommendation that a height of 14 feet is proposed in mental health facilities. Their design guide of 2010 that particularly helps to mitigate the risk of climbing and escapement, and also prevents people from being able to throw things over the fence. So I think that that's particularly important when we consider the height of the fence. I also think that in particular providing in support of the planning documents that because this is intended to be a place of healing, that it is particularly important that we provide that opportunity for people to have access to the outdoors, as that is, I think, a critical component of the healing process. So I also intend to support this motion. I also appreciate that you've put a lot of thought into the aesthetics and blending it into the building and the surrounding landscaping, because it will be over the height variance. So I think that's also particularly worth mentioning. So thank you. If there is no further discussion, may we have a vote on case number 2024-0120?
Ms. Boland, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Lucas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Case 2024-0120 passed with a vote of 7 in favor and 0 against and 0 abstaining. Thank you. So moving on, we don't have any appearance requests, reports, or comments from the commissioner. Therefore, this concludes UDC's business for the evening. Could I please get a motion to adjourn? It's been moved by Commissioner Sullivan and seconded by Commissioner Nanalo. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the meeting adjourned at 7:12 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.